Hey Chad, how you doing?
Doing good. How's it going?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, so let's start at the start then. What age did you start skating, and can you remember your motivations for that? Was there a
Yeah.
seminal moment?
Yeah. I think it was around 13 or 14 years old. So kind of late.
Yeah.
I got into it. I had a friend that came over with a skateboard early on that got me like stoked on it. But my older brother used to skate like back in the early 90s. So he used to put me on his board, like an old, Powell board, and like send me down the driveway on it and stuff. So it was kind of like in my bones from a young age.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Wow. And then, how did you find progression at that stage? Was it something you felt immediately in tune with, or did it take a lot of effort? Or
Oh yeah, immediately I was hooked. The kid that got me into it, I was already like more interested in doing it like all the time, like obsessed with it. And I was on like the basketball and baseball teams, and I eventually like for high school, and I eventually like just quit both of those and just kept skating like all the time. So that just consumed everything.
oh, amazing! What were your
Yeah.
main influences at that point? Are we talking like 90s, early 90s? I mean, how long ago was this?
For me, that was when my brother got into it. For me, it was like I don't even know what time period it was really, but yeah, I was like 14, so maybe 20 years ago,
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
early 2000s.
Yeah, and I used his old cassette tape from it's called a video propaganda.
Yep.
It's an old Powell video. So like
Wow.
that was the only cassette that I watched.
Oh,
So
amazing.
it was either that or like Kids in My Town. That was really like the only motivation,
Oh, wow.
in the beginning.
Can you remember, was that more like Flatland Street ollies, or were you transition bowl, or bit of everything, or can you remember?
Yeah, basically only flat curbs and then little stair sets around my town. It
Yeah.
was all street oriented at that time, and the videos were kind of like that too, really, at that time. Like all the pros.
Amazing. And then was there a time that you broke through into being sponsored on Flow Pro, or like getting some little bits? Did you start competing or anything?
Yeah, it took a little while. I was, learning fast, obviously. I was just like so obsessed with it that I was learning fast, but not too fast. I just kind of like kept skating with better people, going out as much as I could. Um, I started, I worked at like a little skate shop in my town.
Yeah.
And then I eventually worked at another one and got into the one that was like the biggest one in my area in like Long Island, New York. And so like that was when I kind of like really first got sponsored through all the shop, like because they deal with all the brands and stuff like that, right? So they can get you hookups through there.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's what I.
I mean, would you say that skateboarding has got more popular since those days? Was it a bit smaller back then, or was it like more popular? Or
Yeah, it was. Yeah, back then it was kind of like me and a couple other kids that did it were like the outcast kids. Like it wasn't cool to do it. We almost were like what the hell are these kids doing? It definitely was still at that tail end, and cell phones weren't really around yet. So
yeah,
it was definitely wasn't like super cool at the time.
wicked. I mean, so obviously the landscape has changed now, and people probably best know you from your YouTube output, possibly. But how would you say things have changed for you? I mean, obviously, was YouTube a big thing, or did it just lead on from doing video parts before that? Was it, or was it a real game changer for you? How did you sort of feel when the YouTube thing started
Yeah.
to?
So basically, I was what you'd call like a core kind of skater, you
Yeah,
know? Um, Always filming video parts, skating with people in New York, like around. And eventually, I tore a couple ligaments in my knee,
yeah.
set me out for a little bit, like 20, maybe 22 years old, 23. And then I more started like talking about skating and living the lifestyle and drinking and girls and all
Oh,
that type of stuff. You know, I
yeah,
was just drinking heavy and more like talking about skating, going to skate parties.
yeah,
And then, years later, I like snapped out of it. I actually got like a couple of DWIs. Like shit kind of went south for a little while,
Yeah.
and then I got sober, and that's when I started the YouTube, and that was kind of like something to channel my energy into when I got sober.
Cool. So what year? I mean, I see you as quite a trailblazer. Certainly, when I started skating, you were one of the most visible guys on there, and I presume you started before that. So, what year are we talking when you started the YouTube channel?
It's a good question. I have to go back. I think like 6 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
And what was the motivate? I remember seeing a video where you explained that you literally just bought a phone and then just started recording things. I mean, obviously you started from scratch, but did you have literally 0 subscribers when you started Chad Caruso, and then you've just
Yep, 100% started
wow.
from zero, no videos. I never edited a video in my life. Never. I mean, I filmed with like, the VX cameras and stuff with my friends,
Yeah.
but I never like, filmed and edited my own videos. So I also didn't have any social media
Wow.
at all. I had no Facebook, Instagram. Like I was like against all that stuff. I thought it was like,
Yeah.
So
would your rep have been very localized to your area? You would have been known in the scene and the shops, but really outside of that.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And then so I just that when I decided to do it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I had no money. I used like the last bit of my money to get a leased cell phone, iPhone, so I could film.
Yeah.
And it was just such a struggle, like learning how to edit, upload, thumbnails, and I still do all of it on my phone. Like I started that.
I remember
6 years.
I remember seeing a video and I couldn't believe, because to find out that there was no little trickery, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool when you put out that video. And it gave me the inspiration, because I'm a bit of a technophobe and I needed to be able to do it. To find you could do it all in the, and do you edit in the phone? Do you use?
Yeah.
What's the app, if you don't mind me asking? Do you use for
Say that again. I'm sorry. I think it broke up a little bit. What was that?
What was the app that you use for the editing, if you don't mind me asking?
Just iMovie.
Oh, didn't even same here. Yeah.
Fancy, like not just
right.
iMovie. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
And then during the kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but the 50 States challenge.
Oh man, I was going to ask you about that.
I filmed that for 3 hours a day of footage.
Yeah.
To edit every single day. It was like so much to go through on the iPhone. You're like scrolling over,
and then you have to delete. Presumably, you had to delete everything at the end of every day once you'd.
I actually got like a bunch of extra space on the iCloud, so I didn't have to worry about that.
Oh, nice.
Luckily, I saved a lot. Yep.
Amazing, dude. Yeah. So, I was going to ask you about 50 tricks in 50 states, which I thought was an amazing concept and an incredible achievement. I mean, that seemed. Those of you who haven't seen it, Chad did a challenge where he went to 50 states and learned a new trick in each state. And am I right in thinking you did it in 50 days as well?
In 50 days, yeah. So every single day, I learned a new trick in a new state and filmed a daily vlog and uploaded it that day to YouTube. So like everyone was following along in real time that was watching.
I watched it in real time. Yeah. I mean, anybody watching now, then just go over to Chad Caruso and have a look at that playlist folder and treat yourself. Because I think at that point, I quite enjoyed you started to incorporate more lifestyle elements into the videos. So up to that point, it was more like, for me, trick tips that I was really interested in. And I felt you had a real knack of, even though you're a very accomplished skater, you had the knack of giving that extra detail of tips that wasn't necessarily present in other guys, because they were autonomous with the move. So therefore it was just some very pretty clips of it being done nicely, but not the, and I really,
of course,
your video I found most helpful was the 10 easy tricks on the mini ramp, and I believe it's your biggest viewed. I think it's like 500,000 views on that one, and because it was 10 and you said that's the easiest ones, I sort of made it my challenge. See if I can get those 10. See if I can get those 10, and I'll be getting. You know what I mean? It's like, wow.
Yeah. It gives you like a challenge, and it made it easy, like something to focus on that you can like tangibly get and progress.
And I enjoyed that series you did, like then the intermediate 10 and then the more advanced 10, and there was
Yeah,
something to strive for and see where you can
yeah.
go. That's great, dude.
So that was like the and then I think it still is like that's the core of my whole channel and like everything I do in life really was
Yeah,
trick tips and trying to like teach because I remember watching videos and like you said it looked good but no one was really giving tips.
yeah,
Like and if they were they're just like all right you come up you get into it and you come down you land.
yeah. And I also thought you were one of the first guys to include bails, especially on the 50 tricks. That
Oh
was
yeah.
really great and engaging because you appreciated how much it took, like the process you went through. And man, you can take a slam as well. Oh my
Oh yeah.
goodness,
I could definitely take a slam. I'm
dude.
probably better at taking slams than landing tricks.
Oh wow. Yeah, I wear all the pads and I still find it super upsetting, but you seem to be right there.
Yeah.
Whoa, Oh,
Yeah, I
dude.
could take them for sure, yeah. Knock
Oh,
on wood.
amazing. So, yeah, going back then, another great video was where you outlined the process of building the skate park, which I believe most of the clips are filmed at. It's the skate light park with the spine and the 6 foot
Yeah.
section. I didn't fully appreciate how involved you were, but can you talk us or give us a bit of background into that process? I believe it was a different skate park before, and then you got those extra
Yeah.
bits put in over time. And
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a long process over years, really. But when I was like 16 or so, me and my best friend, we were always getting kicked out of our local spots. So we petitioned, ran around, got everyone to sign this thing, and brought it into the town, and they built a skate park. They like took a picture with us, and like
wow,
they made it happen. So, and I didn't really appreciate like what I did at the time. You know, I was just
yeah,
like a kid. Yeah, I just want a skate park. You know,
yeah,
but looking back and getting sober and like looking back at it, I was like, that's the best thing I ever did. Like communities, generations of kids have been using this park.
yeah.
Myself, like all my friends, like this was really helpful. So now that I'm like a little older and clear headed, I wanted to like keep doing stuff like that.
Oh, it's amazing, dude. How much
Yeah.
input did you have on the design elements? Because it seems super well designed, and you seem like everything you demonstrate there seems, you know,
Yeah, actually, that was like they did all the design work because I was so that what you see in the videos is still the original park,
yes.
and the new one is going to be built like I think the end of this year or next year.
Oh wow, is
The
that
one,
gonna go? The skate those
so
ramps gonna?
I'm trying to get them to keep the mini ramp
Yeah,
because that thing is
it's
like
famous
we
now.
need that thing, and
Yeah.
it's one of the I've skated mini ramps all over the country, and that's probably the best mini ramp I've ever skated.
Oh
It's
man.
crazy. I had
Oh
it in my hometown, I went everywhere and I was like, damn, that thing is literally perfect. For
yeah.
me at least.
It look on camera. It looks amazing, and it's got this. Am I right in thinking skate like a gator skin surface or one of
Yeah,
those things?
skate light, yeah.
And am I right in thinking obviously East Coast is super hot or super cold? Is that
Yeah,
like the general vibe?
yeah, you're not really maybe in the fall and the spring you get a little in between couple of months.
Yeah,
But like right now it's super humid,
yeah,
and yeah, winter is just brutal. Like it's tough to get out and get motivated.
yeah. And then I mean,
I,
are you suffering from snow? I mean, are you dusting that thing off, or is it snowing and it's not being ridden for a while? Or
well, if you dig back through like my old YouTube videos, like
yeah,
back in the beginning, I was showing up every day with a shovel, like 2 feet of snow. I would shovel the ramp and just film like whatever.
yeah.
Every day I'd go there and
Oh,
like shovel
amazing, dude.
there.
Yeah, and with the filming, do you find you have to pick your time? Because I've noticed that you seem to be quite strategic. There's rarely dudes there, and obviously it's hard to film and talk. And um, is there times you go to film the clips, or are you like,
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly not too hard
right?
because skaters wake up super late in general,
Yeah, yeah,
except like the old skaters. But for the most part, I go to the skate park and no one's there at 8 a.m.
cool. So you're there, you're in it.
I know 7 I've done, but it's a little early, like 8, between 8 and like 10 or something. And it's good. Like you see maybe one other person there, like trying to learn tricks by themselves. You know,
Wicked.
they want the same vibe. You know, they just want to feel out some stuff while no one's there.
Nice. Do you have anybody photo bombing? Anybody down there getting in a Chad
Um,
Caruso video? Or?
yeah, yeah. I always see people like there's this guy I've been seeing like every morning now. He's like 40 or 45, and he's like learning all these tricks. He's like
Wicked.
he's stoked every morning. So I love seeing it.
Dude, amazing. And do you have like a coaching background pre YouTube? Did you do skate camps or like other sport coaching, or because
That's a good question.
That way to break down tricks? I would imagine that you've had some.
My dad was a yoga teacher, so I think just I might have inherited like a teaching kind of mentality from him.
Yeah.
But let's see, when I was like maybe 16, 17 years old, I did a skate camp in New Hampshire for an entire summer.
Yeah.
So I like stayed in the cabin with a bunch of skaters, and for 8 weeks taught like a group of new group of kids every week how to skate.
Wicked.
So that was a long, I guess, extended period of time of teaching, and then I guess I just got used to doing that.
Oh man, that's where that's where you got your craft.
And then then after that I got a job at a skate park, the only indoor skate park in Long Island where I live.
Yeah.
And that summer I ran a skate camp of my own there too. So
wicked. I was going to ask you about that because obviously your videos are predominantly outdoors, but in the winter, I was going to ask: have you got an indoor facility where you can, still get it going?
Yeah, I mean, there's no indoor skate parks on Long Island at the moment, which is like mind blowing.
Wow.
Yeah, because you think like New York, like I don't know, there's everything here.
Yeah.
It's not New York City, but it's pretty close, and there's a lot of stuff. And there's that one skate park, that one that we had went out of business.
Oh, shame, man. Cool. So yeah, the 50 tricks in 50 states. We can go back to that. So a massive undertaking and a huge challenge. And can you just give us a bit of insight into what you found was the biggest challenge? I mean, obviously you've got the physical challenge of the skateboarding, you've got the physical and mental challenge of the traveling, you've got the mental challenge of the clip management and the upload and the stress of that. And I mean, what was?
Yeah. All right. So it was like it was an evolution, because before that, the year before, I did this thing like learn a new trick every day for 30 days.
Yeah.
New trick for a month. And I was just like running out of work straight to the skate park, so that's where I learned how to edit and do it kind of quick.
Yeah.
And then after I finished that, I was like, when I was doing that, I just felt like I just loved what I was doing. I was just excited, and then when it ended, I was like, how could I do something else like that? Like, how could I top that?
Yeah.
And then a year later, it popped into my head. I was like, wait, I could do a new trick in every state. I was like, let me see if this is possible. So I started like seeing how long it would take to drive to each state. I'm like, all right, well, if it took me, we'll say the most 3 hours to learn a trick, I got to edit for 3 hours. I got to, I was like, wait, it's actually possible. I think I can do it. Whoa. And that's how it started. And every night my girlfriend was like, thought I was insane, because that's all I would think about, talk about. Like I think it's possible.
Oh, it's amazing, man. I mean, it got up ahead of steam. I remember watching it in real time, and there was, people were starting to realize where you'd be next, and they were turning up, and people donating and bringing sandwiches, and it was like, it was just great. And I guess people were like hedging their bets, or were you putting it out on social which park you were going to be at, or was it just a surprise that guys were there? Or
yeah, I didn't really have, I knew my route, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
In my description of my YouTube videos, I think I started writing the next cities I was hitting.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a cool experience, man. People were reaching out. I didn't expect that at all,
Oh, that's great.
And it's kind of a lonesome experience if you think about it. Like, I did it by myself. Like, I kind of wanted to learn about myself and be alone, but you don't realize how many hours you're really out there, like driving, skating, editing, hotel. It's like, it's just me, So it was cool having like all that support, people meeting up and getting messages all the time and stuff. It was like, didn't expect it, and it was probably the best part.
Oh, amazing. And did that lead on to the idea and concept for the world? Was it one in every country, or was it South America, or
Yeah.
um,
So
yeah, because there was a time
yeah,
where the phone got broken, and I was watching that one in real time, and it sort of went a bit wonky, but it was amazing what the places you were going, and yeah,
yeah. So yeah, that was basically, yeah, the next step of that was to go to every country, and I probably would learn a new trick in every one, but I didn't want to make that the focus.
yes,
I wanted it to be more about like see how skateboarding helps people in each region of the world, or what it's like over there, what their ramps are like, what the people are like. I kind of expand it
yeah,
more
man,
than just skating.
yeah,
Um, but I found out quickly that it's more expensive than you would think. You know what I mean?
yeah,
After like 7 or 8 countries in a row, I was like, oh, okay, I'm completely broke. So now I'll just save money until the next trip. You
wicked.
know, but
I don't think there's any shame in doing that. Doing that in blocks, man. I don't think there's any shame in doing that
yeah,
one in man alive. When
for
I saw it
sure,
around
yeah.
the world, I'm like, wow, this is gonna be yeah,
I know. So yeah, if I ever get like some funding or something like that, like I'm ready to go every single country. So
that's amazing, dude.
yeah, I'm
Brilliant.
excited for that.
So you've had a few projects that are skate sort of orientated wheels, and obviously you've got your decks and like. Can you talk us through some of the ways that you've engaged with those, and what the idea behind them was and how it worked out? With the wheels, coming up with your
Yeah,
own wheels and all that. Yeah.
cool. So yeah, I started Karma Wheel Co.
Yep.
Just like a wheel company. I tried to basically make wheels that I would like to skate.
Yeah.
They're kind of like hard wheels that could slide on mini ramp and do the tricks that I do.
Yep.
And that process was just really a pain, man. Like trying to get in touch with people and like constantly emailing. It's just not my thing, I learned.
Yeah.
So I was really excited about it and wanted to build this company and like help and stuff like that. But after a year or two, I started to realize like selling is not for me. Or like that type of administrative stuff. Like I need to be out in the world like doing stuff. Like that kills me.
Yeah.
So I tried to do it, but I think anyone could do anything they focus on, but it just wasn't like it just didn't feel right for me, so I kind of put it on the side.
Oh, cool, man. Have you still got
Yeah.
you still ride the wheels, or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I got a bunch of them. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. So out of all the skate disciplines, obviously you accomplished with the street. I'll probably watch your videos when you were going through your real transition stage and focus on that. What's your favorite out of everything? What's your most sort of you get most juiced on?
I think transition
Yeah.
skating. Like I don't know. I realize now that I'm older. Like I always loved transition.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid, but I just never had any, and it wasn't popular.
Right.
When I first started, it was all about like doing what was being done in the videos, like the zero videos and like jumping down steps, and it's just more appealing to a kid, than ramp skating, or at least at that time it was, or my area. So I would skate mini ramp, and I love it. I always be doing little variations and stuff, but I never really got to skate it until years later. I did that skate camp, and that was just all ramps, and I was with transition skaters. So all summer long, while I'm teaching people, I'm learning myself.
Brilliant.
And I'm getting older, so it's like it was like a perfect time where it's like, okay, like your body's not doing too well jumping downstairs. Let me move to transition a little bit, So it kind of worked, and it's fun. You can skate tranny, I feel like, almost forever if you're smart about it,
Yeah. I'm hoping.
Like look at Tony Hawk, like he's still going at it.
Oh man, with a broken leg, and he can't
That's
stop.
what I mean, like,
dude.
As long as you keep your muscles in good health, like I think you could do it forever.
Oh,
not forever, but you do it for a while.
Have you found over the years you've changed your approach to, your relationship with skateboarding, the way you approach it, or the way you enjoy it, or the way you try to progress? I mean, was it different when you were younger than it is now? have you learned a new,
Yeah,
more
definitely.
fulfilling way to? Yeah,
Yeah, and in many different ways I could answer that question, but
cool.
with just like the learning tricks aspect, um, when I was younger, it was just about the hardest thing I could do in the shortest amount of time. Or like the craziest thing I could do and get it on film,
Yeah,
like jump down some steps, and maybe I would nollie heel a 10 stair, but I wasn't good at nollie heels and I'd just do it until I landed one.
yes,
Now it's more about like, it's almost like therapeutic, and I get involved in the process. I'm like, all right, we really want to get good at this trick, figure out the technique, let me master it on flat, then I'll move up to 3 stair. Like, it's more systematic and patient,
yeah.
trying to learn it like the right way instead of just maybe trying to impress friends or keep up with someone, or
Oh, amazing.
a different mindset when you're older, because I think it's more simple. It's less people.
Yeah.
Opinions are involved. It's just more about you like enjoying yourself and getting out.
Oh, amazing. Do you find you have a core bag of stuff that will never leave you, and then you've got bits on the top that require maintenance, or is pretty much, do you have a, what's your retention rate like?
Um, I could basically, all right, if I learn something, I can always like pull it out of my ass in the future.
Yeah.
I won't be consistent at it, but I could always like get it.
Yeah.
And then there's certain tricks that you fall in love with or just feel natural to you.
Yeah.
And then those, for some reason, probably because you like them, they just stick. Like you do enough of them that the muscle memory almost never leaves.
I've noticed that one of your go-tos for crazy transition, if it's mental, big, is pivot fakie. You seem to be.
Oh yeah, feeble fakie.
That seems to be the feeble fakie.
Yeah.
Seems to be the one for like the 8-foot vert crazy DIY build bit in.
Yeah,
wherever.
It's kind of funny because at that local skate park that I helped get built, it was like a big community there of kids, like our whole crew, and we would always joke about the feeble grind. Like the feeble grind was like the national like trick of the skate park, and we'd always make up these terms about it, and like, oh, you gotta feeble it. Like there was always some sort of joke about the feeble. Even in one of our skate videos, we made like a full part dedicated to the feeble grind, where it's just like 5 minutes of people feebling. So we're obsessed with this trick. So that's why that trick will just never ever leave me. Like not possible. It's burned in.
Oh, it's brilliant. Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of setups, then over the years, skateboard wise, have you been fussy? Obviously, you're developing the wheels so they're just how you like them. In terms of trucks and decks, is that developed and changed? Is that something you're picky about, or can you just sort of get on anything? And
yeah, so my entire life skating, I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I had no money, no concern. I was just grab a board, I'll ride it. Didn't even think about the size really.
Yeah.
Sometimes I did, but I didn't care. Maybe the past like year, 2 years, I started. Maybe I'm like, I want to get better at round rails. I bet you wider trucks and bigger wheels would help with that. Or, you know what I mean? I'm like tweaking things a little. I'm not flipping my board as much. Maybe I'll go wider.
Yeah.
My kick flips rocket. So I started paying attention to wheelbase.
Yep.
Which, wheelbase, you familiar with that?
Yep.
So, like shortening that, I think helped my pop a little bit.
Cool.
So I'm starting to dabble in it, but it was never something I was like, I was more of like, you can learn anything at any time if you put in the work, and it's not about the little technical stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm learning that stuff is important later.
Yeah.
Life. I'm learning that now.
Oh, cool, dude.
Yeah.
Wicked. So
how about you? Are you into that stuff?
Well, no, I beat myself up because I find it's all about confidence. So it's only relevant to you and how confident it makes you feel. So whenever I tinker with something, because I'm a beginner, the only thing that changes is my confidence goes, because it's now different and I'm not. So I've learned for a process of beating myself up for being an idiot by changing things. I was perfectly happy with it how it was. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I wonder though if I can get another 5% and then as soon as I change it, I'm not confident, and then I can't. So I've learned I just need to keep it the same, because it's not the board's fault. It's all my fault. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Basically.
But there also is an element of if you change something, like let's say you change your wheelbase.
Yeah.
Your pop is going to be different.
Yeah.
So you can be frustrated in the beginning because you're not used to it. Like your timing's off, but you think you're doing it right, but it's off now.
Yes.
Because the dynamics changed. So, sometimes there is a grace period where you need to give it a chance, like maybe a week, a month, or, until you get used to it.
Yep.
Because if you just try, switch, get frustrated, you're not really giving yourself the chance to see if it would work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it's tough because when you switch, you're just like, I want to just land tricks. Like, this feels weird,
Dude. Yeah, I think I get the stoke from progression. So therefore, staying the same or going backwards is the anti-stoke for me. So if I keep things the same, at least I've got a level playing field to try and improve,
Yeah. And then also, like, what feels natural for you, maybe you can't do this trick, but you'll be able to do some other tricks that other people don't do, just because, like, each person has their own different comfortability, the way their board set up, the way shoulders move, so it's like, it's very situational.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
What's the favorite video that you've made, like, just personally? The one that you've gone, oh man, that was like good concept and I nailed the production and it's gone out there and I'm proud of it.
Let's see. That's a good question. Honestly, it has almost no production. It's just a video of me talking to the camera straight for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And it's just about my sobriety.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was in two minds whether to ask you, because obviously it's a personal thing, but I found it very, brave and also really great that you branched into more personal areas that are still skate related, because obviously it affected your skateboarding, and it was, but I think the whole area of mental health, for me, skateboarding definitely helps my mental health.
Oh yeah.
And sure. I think it's courageous for you guys like you to talk about that. So yeah, I definitely related to that. And also there was one about, I believe, smoking, which I guess is down a similar line of, addiction. And
for sure, any video like that where it's, putting every embarrassing moment I basically ever had, like, as honest as I can on film, sharing it, and like not caring about the result and hoping like it helps like seeing if it helps a couple of people, then that becomes so much more meaningful than anything else. It's just
totally. But I think
because I know what it did for me personally. So if you do that for one other person, then it was worth getting made fun of or embarrassed or whatever.
I guess we can sidestep quite nicely into your relationship with YouTube. Obviously, there's a comment section, and everyone's got an opinion out there. And I reckon when you started YouTube, and it was a bit more of a Wild West, even.
Mm-hmm.
So did you find that tough? Did you find it worrying to put yourself in that arena? How did you find you coped with it? I mean, has it been mostly positive, positive?
When I first started, when I first started, I didn't even think about it because, like I said, I wasn't paying attention to the internet at all. Like, I didn't even know that they were I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah.
So I was just uploading videos and like that's it. And I would say for the most part, I never really got much hate. No. Occasionally, it's like the random comment that just doesn't make sense, and you're just like, all right, like if that's what you need to do, like that's cool.
Yeah.
But I also do mainly trick tips.
Yes.
And like positive videos, so I don't really attract that kind of attention generally. You know what I mean? So like for the most part, how many people are going to come to a skateboarding trick tip video and just be like, talk shit to a guy trying to help somebody? Like, I mean, it happens, but It's just less common.
Yeah, man. And and I
I
guess water off a duck's back when it does. You just
Yeah, so I had some videos on Instagram recently that like I got more hate than I've ever got on anything. Just talking about skate trick names.
oh yeah, oh man, that's the one that catches me out because being a beginner, I obviously don't know. I'm not totally.
Yeah,
I try to do my research, but it's so hard because it depends where you come from, and it's
right.
so personal to people. So even in the UK, a different county, that trick will be called a different name, and they're
100%.
and then you go to obviously North America, it's different in Canada, it's different in America, it's all the same trick. And
Yeah.
then also within that, because I'm learning tricks myself, there's levels, isn't there, of like doing the trick correctly. Like you can do the sort of trick, but then there's popping out of the trick, popping into the trick, and
Right.
do you do this with your tuck the knee, or so within a sport with
Yep.
no rules, there's definitely rules.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's, I thought it was so funny when I posted that video and got all these comments because it was almost like I had posted something political,
Yeah,
like about president. I was like, I've never seen this polarizing behavior in my life, especially on my channel. I'm like, what's happening? So
give us an
um,
example of like what you were saying. A certain trick was called X,
so
and
basically, let's see, what was the, fakey pop rock
oh yeah,
trick. I was like, videos called skate trick names that don't make sense.
yes,
Fakey pop rock. So you come up, I was basically saying that um,
you bonk the
it's just like
wheels.
the
Yeah,
names don't make sense essentially, and there's no consistency in a lot of the names we use.
yeah,
And also throw on top of that that each geographical area uses a different term.
yeah,
So all these people are so passionate, so angry, and so convinced that they are right.
yes,
And I'm not even saying one's right or wrong.
no,
I'm just pointing out that it's interesting. Like I
yeah,
don't care. I don't care what the trick's called. I'm just doing tricks, like making fun videos. And people are like jumping down my throat. Like I'm just like, it's crazy. It's just the name of a trick.
yeah.
I think it's interesting that we haven't really came up with a system that makes sense for it. I think that's just funny.
Yeah, I've noticed on the street league as well. The Brazilian gang have a different name for everything as well. So they call
Yeah,
like kickflip just a flip, and they call other things. They have a 360 flip is called another thing, and it's it's still the right language, but it's for them. That's what it is.
right. Exactly. And I think there's a group of skaters that hate the idea of there being a right language because
Yeah,
skateboarding's so anti um, corporation, anti everything, really. It's just like wants to be its own separate thing and not follow any rules. So you start bringing up that it doesn't make sense and they think you're trying to make rules and make everything make sense. And so then they get mad that you're
yeah.
trying to make it rigid and it's this thing where there's no rules, there's no coaches. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Well, I guess in
no,
the 80s when a lot of tricks were made up, it was regional, but with no way of communicating. So guys on the
yeah,
East Coast and guys on the West Coast would both be inventing the same trick and grabbing hold of it and calling it their trick name, not
yeah,
aware that at the same time it was just natural that that progression may have happened as well. And then those
yeah.
guys come together and they're like, no, it's the so, and
That is my trick.
so you can
Yeah,
see how it could,
yeah,
but I think it's the same in the UK. It's definitely regional. I've moved area recently, and a trick that I do that I didn't really know had a name. Down here they call it the pink chicken, and I'm like, one of the lads at the skate park, oh yeah, you can do the pink chicken. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I'm
I
happy.
never heard of
Hey,
that.
I'm cool. No, exactly. It's like it was just a thing in their gang. It's like, oh yeah,
Mm. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I don't mind talking with any person that wants to like try to understand what the trick might be called, like, but just don't, shout out things and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It just doesn't have to be like that. Like, we're just trying to figure it out or talk about it. It's interesting.
Oh, cool, man. So over the
Yeah.
years with the YouTube channel, obviously it's grown. You're now 50,000 subscribers, which is just amazing, man. Did
Thank you.
you? How did that? Was there like periods of exponential growth, periods where it plateaued, or was it? It's just been
Yeah.
constantly the same, or and also has it exceeded your expectations, or has it been pretty much where you expected it to be, or
Um, that's a good question. I didn't really care about the subscribers. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't thinking about that. I was
no,
always just trying to do what I wanted to do,
yeah.
and if I could help people along that road, then I would.
Did you have any personal benchmarks for videos? Like, oh, I hope this one gets 100 views or 1,000 views. That would like
Um,
I could sign off on that, or were you just literally
yeah,
not
I
even
mean,
looking?
sometimes naturally that happens. Like, you're like, oh, this one should do well, and then it doesn't, and then you let that. So now it's just like, all right, I don't even care. Like,
Can you remember one that you really had, like, you just thought this is the bomb,
well,
and it just
I
like,
mean,
oh, I'm really disappointed.
yeah, to be honest, the 50 states was like, I thought that would be like something that everyone would watch. Like,
Yeah,
doing this crazy thing across the United States, and basically 10,000 people watched it, which is a lot of people.
yeah,
But in terms of like YouTube views, it's not much at all.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Compared to like a lot of, the channels that make a living off of YouTube.
right, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So for like what I was doing, it felt like it should have been seen more,
yeah. Of course.
but I learned later that it's very niche. It's like you need to be a skateboarder that like loves watching attempts of tricks, and like,
Yeah,
what I mean, it really takes like someone that's into it to truly appreciate it, and that's not, that many people sometimes.
yeah. I guess if you're talking about Lego, it's going to be immediately
Right, you
or
narrowing it
whatever,
down.
or
Yeah.
yeah,
And then there's skaters that like don't want to watch you maybe try a trick, and then there's skaters that maybe don't want to watch what the area looks
yeah,
like the town, and then and so it just always shrinks the more, I guess, narrow you get. But a lot of times that's where the best things are, is where it's super narrow,
yeah.
because everyone's just trying to get views and do what everyone will like. But to me, I think the best things are what you like, no matter
Oh
what,
yeah.
and trying to grow that into something.
Ah,
You
for
know,
sure. Yeah.
so that's
No,
kind of like what the travel into every country is like. That's my dream. That's like what I believe in. It doesn't make sense. I can't afford it, but like I'm determined, and that's what I'm gonna go for, because I think that's cool.
oh, amazing. So have we got some videos coming up to look forward to?
Yeah. Let's see. So I have a video part I'm working on right now. So I've just been street skating like all the time.
Whoa.
I'm thinking about daily vlogging, like up to the premiere
Oh,
of the
amazing.
video,
Yeah.
kind of like documenting my like going out in the streets and trying to film stuff like that.
So is the rehab good? Are you set? You're
Oh
happy with
yeah,
the
I'm back to normal. Yeah,
brilliant. Great.
yeah. I started going to the gym too, which I never did my whole life.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that video where you shared the uh physio and those
Yeah,
bits. It's great.
I was, skateboarder. You're like, I don't want to be a jock. I'm never going to a gym. You know what I mean? Like that. That's always was the mentality for me growing up.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
Yeah.
Just a couple days a week, like I could jump higher and last longer trying a trick. It just makes like so much sense. I wish I was doing it my whole life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, I found that myself. I'm 48 now, and I started when I was 44, and I don't buy into the age thing at all in any way.
No.
I
Yeah.
won't. I think the 48-year-old version of me will kick the 28 version of me's ass, because when I was 28, I just treated my body like a bin bag, and didn't do anything and could get away with it because I was 28. Whereas now, I think I can achieve a similar performance level, but it just takes an awful lot of management. Right food and physical training and yoga and stretching and preparation, but it's still totally achievable. But I was explaining to one of the young rippers down the skate park, he was eating a sausage roll and he was saying, this is great because it's cheap. And I'm like, oh, dude, I don't want to you know, desperate. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you can only get
It's
away with that. You can get away with
it's
that now.
rare to like see a kid get away from that. It's almost something you have to do as a kid. Like you
You
gotta
got,
go
yeah. I mean,
drink and eat shitty, and then like you have to do it just so you know like what you shouldn't do. You're like, oh, okay, I feel like shit now. A couple of years later, like, fine, I'll stop. Yeah.
well, you got it for free then anyway, so I guess you got to do it.
Yeah.
In your skateboard, have you had any time off due to disenchantment? Have you ever sort of like just, obviously you talked about the years where you were more partying and there were injury periods, but has the core love of skateboarding always been there, or have you ever become jaded? Because obviously 20 plus years is an awful long time to do
Yeah.
predominantly one thing.
Just that time period when I had the injury, and then after the injury, I was drinking. I still skated.
Yeah.
But I think there was a frustration with, I always wanted to be a pro skateboarder as a kid, Yeah. So getting these injuries and then getting older, it was easy to just like be too cool for skateboarding and do it whenever. And like, yeah, I'm not going to feel like, kind of don't try hard and you're too, like cool guy. And then once I got sober, I realized like what I was doing, and it just came. So like that was the only time I really veered away a little bit, but I was still doing it.
Brilliant.
I never like quit, and now I feel almost more into it than I ever was. I feel like I'm skating better than I ever have.
Oh.
Like I was maybe a little crazier when I was younger, but I just feel like I'm more talented, and skill wise now. Yeah.
Super solid.
Yeah.
So the video part, you've made a few videos on how you approach doing that. I find that really an interesting thing, and then conceptually, there's such a creative element to that. So you're presumably going to bed at night thinking, oh, that spot, this trick, this one, and then ordering those. Are you thinking this one's the end trick, and are you working to a brief almost in your head? It has to be. I mean, a video part's 2 minutes. Like they set 2 minutes or 2:30.
That's where it helps kind of being older. Like, got a higher skate IQ. You know what I mean? Like when you're younger, just like going to any spot you want, jumping off stuff. You're not really thinking about it. Maybe. Now I'm more like, oh, I'd love to get that trick. It would look great. That spot would look great. This trick would look cool. All right, I'm not that good at it, so let me try it at the skate park for like 2 weeks and get good at it. So then when I get the filmer and the photographer, you know what I mean? It's like this whole orchestrated thing that, and you don't want to go there and bust your ass on the concrete either. So you have to get good at the trick first and then go,
And is it mostly a one and done mentality with putting things in a video part? Is it more like, let's get this, and then is there a point where you've done the last brushstroke? I'm happy, that's done, is stylish and is well and to bolts, and that's it, done.
And a lot of times that last brushstroke never comes. Like I'll do it perfectly, and all my friends will say it's perfect, and I'll still be like, But it happens like maybe 30% of the time. But I think that's good because it always keeps me pushing, not getting like complacent, not like, that was good. Like I like to always be, get elevating, getting better and better, So if you're not like have a little restriction, like be a little hard on yourself, it's kind of tough to keep getting better,
Oh, for sure, dude. Oh, that's amazing, Chad. I think we've gone through loads of stuff there, and it's been so cool of you to spend some time with us. Everybody watching, obviously, you've seen Chad's videos, and hopefully you subscribe. But if not, go over and subscribe to Chad's videos. Chad, probably 50 Tricks, 50 States. Is that a good place for people to start when they come to your channel, or is there another video that you're particularly proud of that you think could really encapsulate?
Depends what you're personally into. If you skate yourself, I have like a trick tip on mini ramp for almost every single trick. So
I seen the Trickopedia. I enjoyed that one. It was like 150 or something. Or
that was like 100 something tricks, 20, and like basically to give people ideas for tricks that they could learn.
Yeah.
And then I have like actual tutorials breaking down everything in depth for a lot of tricks. So either that, or if you like traveling, the 50 states would be a cool one. That was like probably the best experience of my life, I'd say.
Oh, it's brilliant. And the format for the trick tips, did that come organically? Because I like it that it follows a similar contour, and I like your catchphrase. It's like, not that it's a catchphrase, but it's like, and you could try these variations because it
Yeah.
always puts a cherry on the top. It's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
you see the trick done and it's explained, and then it's just it's
Yeah.
a lovely little topper.
Yeah, I honestly never even like thought about it. I just like went to the park.
Yeah.
I was telling you, I never had like YouTube really or
Yeah.
Facebook. So I was just standing there with my phone, like just giving tips. It just evolved into that, you know. It
Oh, it's
wasn't like
amazing.
anything conscious, you know.
Oh, that's wicked, dude. Well, thank you so much, Chad.
Yeah, it was nice talking with you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude.
Where do you live again? Where are you from?
I'm in Cornwall in the UK, so the southwestern tip. It's like the
Okay.
surf mecca.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's got great surf, and then we're blessed with some of the best skate parks, in my opinion. But that's
Yeah.
you can't say that, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to come over and see for myself. We'll
Yeah.
meet up and skate.
Yeah, it'll be amazing, dude. Well, you're welcome anytime over here, dude. I tell you.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Chad. Thank you so much, dude.
All right, cool. Good talking to you, man.